is coaching a real business? 10k a month just sounds normal these days as well, which is crazy. He told me that if I keep working at it, I could potentially get to a 20k salary within the next 7 years. It's just the numbers are getting bigger and bigger because all the mentors and gurus are trying to outdo each other with how they sound. All of a sudden, everything that was making us so unique was gone. Alright guys, welcome back to another video with Work Life and Balance. Today I want to talk to you about a very important topic, which is coaching a real business, and why I believe that you should definitely start one if you're in this scenario. So there are two types of businesses. I want to explain that very clearly, okay? And the two types of businesses that exist in the whole of the world is those that produce a lot of profit and a lot of money up front that doesn't require reinvesting, so they're cash flow positive and they make you a lot of money. Basically, you can take the money immediately, continue to run the business as normal, continue to grow the business. The other type of business is the long-term payoff reward business, where you're making a much bigger bet, you're sacrificing a lot more in the short term, and those tend to be either businesses that do make profit and you just have to reinvest to grow that profit, so you can't take the money out personally, or they are actually funded and they're backed by a lot of capital so that you can go and grow those into much larger companies off other people's money, whether it's come from banks or usually investors. So if you're an online coach and you're watching this so far and you're getting a little bit bored by all this terminology and where this is going, it's not going to be deep. It's going to be very easy for you to actually understand and then implement depending on what you're doing right now. So if you're an online coach in the fitness industry, I can imagine a lot of you probably just want to grow, but you don't want to learn all this business lingo, or maybe you are interested in it, but maybe it's a bit overwhelming sometimes. So I can tell you from my experience over the last 10 years, first starting off going into the fitness industry just because I loved fitness, and then growing that into selling stuff online, eventually online coaching. Then we actually started a gym business, and then we just completely grew our online coaching business into a full team. Two totally different businesses, very successful. One over 500 active members with the gym, and then the online coaching with over 250 active members without a large following. So we've done very well with what we've done, right? So that's my experience, but the large topic today is about why I believe, regardless of what all the business gurus and mentors out there say, and they kind of sell you the dream, and you're probably fed up with seeing the ads pop up on your screen as well because they make it sound so easy. And I know for a fact from being in these mentorships and stuff like that, it's only 1%, very small number of people that actually really hit these numbers, and most of the time it's because they've got a massive audience, massive organic following, and they've cracked content, they've cracked social media, okay? Now, we were the caveat to that because we didn't crack social media as much as I would love to, but we still managed to make it work and we grew massively. But anyway, without getting off tangent, the reason I'm saying that is because they say that 10k a month, 20k a month. Now it's like 100k a month is the norm, and then people even saying like 500k a month, million a month. Like that's what you should be shooting for. It's just the numbers are getting bigger and bigger because all the mentors and gurus are trying to outdo each other with how they sound. 10k a month just sounds normal these days as well, which is crazy. But anyway, the point being, those figures are possible, but like I said, the large majority don't achieve that. Like if you just look at the personal training stats alone in the UK, most personal trainers completely fail and give up and change career path in the first year. So the support is not there. What they teach you on the course is how to be a good coach, which is why I assume that's what you're already good at, delivering a great service, and you're passionate about that. But to actually go and grow a business, which is what you've got to do, especially online, it's different to being in the gym, right? In the gym, you don't even realize what you're doing. When you're talking to people, you're talking to potential leads. When you're, getting people on board, you're making sales. You don't realize all this, but you're doing it. But again, just to get back to the point of this video, which is coaching is not a business. And the reason I say that is because I stress tested that fact. With PB Academy, we grew it to multiple coaches. I delegated coaching completely myself. So even though I was the face of the business, so I was bringing in the leads, I was doing the sales. When people were delivering the service, I had a team of coaches doing that for us online. And what I realized very quickly is because we didn't have the margins in the business, yes, it was insanely profitable and it was very cash flow positive. When I worked it out per customer, that if I had to, delegate sales completely, delegate lead generation completely without me being the face of it, all of a sudden, everything that was making us so unique was gone. So as a business, as a value of a business to someone else, if they wanted to buy that business, which is what makes a business a real business and valuable, there's no exit potential with that. I had massive amounts of key man risk, and I learned these specific words and terminologies from going away to Alex Hormozi's Vegas mastermind, whatever you want to call it. I think they call it workshop, but it was great, right? And every founder in that room was doing a minimum of £1 million per year. So it was great to just be in that environment and be around people like that really were trying to do much bigger things, and people were well beyond that as well. But it opened up my eyes to, there wasn't many coaches in that room. You know, out of the 100 people that were there wasn't many coaches at all. And it made me realize that it's not a real business, right? And don't take this personally. I'm saying this myself as someone that's literally been a coach and then grown a coaching business and then get really hurt from doing that. And the way I was hurt was because I tried to grow it into a real business when it never had the potential to do that. And the quick way I can explain why that is, it's all down to the service itself and how it's delivered, which is it's delivered one-to-one. Even though, right, let's just say I had a salesperson. Yeah, so this was different. I had obviously leads at this point, and then I had delivery. Yeah. Between the customer, it was one-to-one. So the delivery was one-to-one, even though I had multiple coaches. So let's just say I had 5 times coaches. Between each customer, it was still one-to-one. Now, if we compare this to a real business, and I'm going to use accountancy as a great example. If we compare this, so versus an accountancy business, the way an accountancy business operates, and I know because I was a junior accountant and I've also worked with Josh Thomas, who's built a great accountancy business, but I learned this mainly from when I was a junior accountant, and I only lasted about a year and a half, and I realized this is not the career I want to do. I was 18. I tell you a fun story of how I realized that was because one of my seniors in my pod, in my team, he was 10 years older than me, and at the time I was being paid £9,000 a year, which was just about minimum wage for that time, which was about 2018, I think 2017. And he told me that if I keep working at it, you know, I could potentially get to a 20k salary within the next 7 years. And he was at about 25k salary, I think, and he was 10 years older than me. So that really opened my eyes, and I thought to myself, really, if I crack the code of this, I give it 20, 30 years of my life, and I build myself up in this company, yes, I'll be mildly successful, but by whose standard and by what lifestyle do I want to live? So I was like measuring success differently. I made a decision at that point that I would rather earn less and not be rich or anything like that, but live life on my own terms, where I could spend hours in the gym at the time. That's all I cared about. And, you know, chase my dream, which was bodybuilding at the time. And yeah, just do what I wanted to do, like have the time back. So I value time at an early age much more than I you know, than most people probably do. A lot of people go chasing money and work for money, but I was like, I'd rather actually have not very much. And what happened was I just went down this path of chasing passion, and it led to a lot more money, which is funny. But anyway, the difference here, right? So remember this is key, because this is one-to-one service. So even though I'm selling, I'm the face of it, bringing it in, I'm doing the sales, I'm doing all the work, I'm spending all the money, I'm literally paying for everyone's life at this point, and I was taking them everywhere. But anyway, when I say everywhere, I was literally like taking them away to like Marbella, Dubai, doing all that stuff. One-to-one service between our delivery team. Even though we had 5 coaches, the service was one-to-one. So they were just building a relationship with this point, and this is the key problem here now, right? What we've got here is we've got on the coaching side. So if we split it, so this is the customer, and then we've got an advisor. We've got a senior accountant, we've got a junior, we've got the director who may call the big shots, and then we've got let's say wages, so salary, someone doing payroll. So these will all be in touch at certain points. So big decisions might go to the director, they'll have a little conversation, they'll pay for that. Senior accountant may deal with them all the time in communications. The junior accountant may deal with like petty expenses and stuff like that, little conversations going on in a group chat. Wages will be end of the month with payroll every single time, and the advisor might get involved with the director for like certain conversations. Now this is just an example, but you can see here how this is a real business. If the senior accountant leaves, right, what's the chances of that customer actually leaving? Very low, because if they're getting a great service overall, that's all they care about. And yes, they may have liked that senior accountant, but they're not going to make a life or death situation and change accountancy firm just to follow that accountant. Now, that's exactly what happens with coaching, and I know that firsthand. So even though you do all the work and you bring in that initial customer, if they then go to work with that coach for 6 months, their loyalty is then going to be with that coach, which is fine. That's the way one-to-one services work. This also works with hairdressing, is a cruel example of that. So one barber, the owner, may build up a great shop and put all the work into that shop, and you may think that's a real business, that's a reliable business. The problem is, once that hairdresser has built up that clientele and cut that guy's hair for every week, what happens when that barber leaves? More than likely, if they're local still, they're going to go with that barber. So all that clients that's working with that barber is going to go. So that's the difference between a one-to-one service and spreading it out. So there's multiple different people that they deal with. And then the loyalty is now with the brand. It's now with the accountancy firm. So that customer is going to stay as long as they keep getting a good service. So that's the breakdown of, first of all, why coaching is not a real business. So stop trying to treat it like one. Realize what is powerful, and the powerfulness in a one-to-one service is the key man risk. It is you. It is the coach. It is the person they do get to deal with. So don't try and treat it like anything different to that, and you will be a lot more successful. So like I said, there are two types of businesses. So if we just break this down a little bit more, and this is why I believe you should start with coaching, because it teaches you absolutely everything. So one is cash flow, and one versus we've got here, we'll do this a little bit differently. This is going to be like value, yeah, long term. And I know you probably think, oh, I want to build a long-term valuable coaching business. Yeah, that's fine, but it's still going to be a cash flow business. It's not going to be something that, there's no point reinvesting all of your profits into the cash flow business, because it's not going to produce anything more than that, because it's got a limit to it. And I pushed it to its absolute limit. I literally plowed a lot of the profits back in, building the team, delegating everything, doing everything we could to build brand. But because of the service we were providing, which was one-to-one, and now obviously you'll probably imagine, what did I do then? We've pivoted it totally, and we've combined it with the gym. So we haven't lost everything we've learned. We've just pivoted based on what we were doing. But if you're doing an online coaching business, I'm telling you, if the service is one-to-one delivery, it's not going to scale. So don't try and treat it like one, but just realize where you're at and the power of where you're at. Not many businesses, if you flip it on its head and you see it through an optimistic lens, not many businesses are able to produce a load of money, a lot of profit, high profit margins, and it all pretty much goes to you, and being able to take that money without suffering or harming the business, without the business suffering. So you can take the money guilt-free, because there's no benefit to putting it back in and trying to grow a cash flow business like that. So realize what game you're playing. If you do have the capital behind you, or you have the years of experience behind you, or you have a great big idea that you want to get investment for, go chase the big idea. If you want to build the next social media platform, the next big software, or an idea you've got that you just know you need to keep putting that money back in, and it's a legit business and it's going to have exit value, something like you see, the people online, James Smith, Shan, and Chris Williamson with Newtonic, and what they're doing and raising money and investing and putting all the money back in. They want to build towards a massive valuation and exit eventually. That's a different game, right? And that's the one we should all probably aspire to. It depends. If you want to play the business game, that's what you want to go for long term. That's what builds serious wealth. This builds a lot of money, a huge lifestyle for what you want, more money than you could possibly do anything with, as long as you're not ridiculous and you want to live, the hugely wealthy lifestyle. If you just want a lot of time freedom, financial freedom completely, where you don't have to worry about stuff, this is what it's all about. So I would suggest you take this and realize that I should play the game I'm in. That's all I'm trying to say with this video. Is I like saying to people that run a coaching business that's not a real business, it's not an exitable business, but there's a good thing that comes with that, which means all the money you're taking, you might as well keep it personally or invest it into a real business. It depends what you want to do. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you agree with what I'm saying? I'm just saying it based on experience. But anyway, to the 10 people that watch this all the way through, thank you. And make sure you subscribe for more on building and scaling a service-based business, and actually making it something that is going to have potential value in the end. But thank you, and I'll speak to you soon.